Hello, friends. So, if you haven't been here before, my name is Tina from Quantum Healing with Tena and Karen. I'm a beyond quantum healing practitioner, spirit releasement therapist, and intuitive empath. And today, I just wanted to pop on real quick and make this video before the topic leaves my mind. My mind seems to move so fast. But I've been thinking a lot about um, what Steiner called Ahriman and Lucifer, these two energies. So Rudolf Steiner was, who we've talked about before on this channel, was a late 19th century, early 20th century esotericist and philosopher. He did many lectures on many different topics, spiritual topics. He's also created the Waldorf schools. So Steiner talks about these two energies called Ahriman and Lucifer. And I've been seeing a lot more of these energies manifesting recently, just in general. And I just wanted to chat about that a little bit. So, a lot of people in the spiritual community might label what Karen and I do, a lot of what Karen and I do as fear-based. But I don't find that at all. I believe that we need, well, I know that we need to be able to understand these energies and how they work in our world. The fact that we do not have that understanding is why we are here at this point in time where we are right now. It's come to this culmination because the darkness has been working behind the scenes, in the background, not being noticed, not being called out, not being understood. And they've been able to almost take complete and full control over Earth, and to our own detriment. And because, it can be scary to dive in the depths of the darkness to understand how these energies work, they've been able to continue. And part of our mission is to bring this out into the light, shine a light on it so that we can understand it more deeply and overcome it eventually. So that is the purpose of why we talk so much about these topics that can feel maybe a little bit scary for people. But they're definitely not fear-based. What is fearful is when we don't address the topics, that we don't address the topics out of fear. It's not fear-based to talk about them. And also another point to make is that we're not going to call it in by talking about it. That's a false belief. It's not real. Yeah, so, and there's a lot of that like positivity focusing in the spiritual community, which is great. We should be positive, but there also needs to be a balance. And a lot of that, only focus on the positive kind of thing comes from that Luciferic energy. So let's talk about Ahriman and Lucifer, these two beings that basically run the lower astral realm. These energies, so Ahriman is a very dense being. It's what some people would call Satan. And so Satan or Ahriman is a very densified energy, very materialistic, It's going to reduce everything to materialism. So this whole what we're seeing in the scientific community, and even on a broader scale, is this, if it can't be proven by science, then it doesn't exist. That kind of thinking is a satanic kind of thinking. It's a satanic energy. Um, it's a very left of the spectrum kind of way of existing in the world. And that is definitely influenced by the energy of Ahriman. On the kind of on the opposite end of that is the energy of Lucifer. And Lucifer, in this sense, is yes, the light bringer, but it's the fallen light bringer. And so this energy is very much focused on the light, focused on positivity. It's very, can be very airy fairy. There's nothing to anchor it down, nothing to ground it down. It's like you have Ahriman here, you have Lucifer here, and then in the middle, in the balanced energy, is the Christ energy. And that's what we all are, I guess, trying to get to or trying to access. At least we should be. I've been noticing, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I've been noticing a lot of Luciferic energy in the spiritual community lately. And a lot of this is coming through channelers. It's such a huge topic, but I just wanted to touch on it briefly and tell you kind of what to look for. And in our last, not our last video, but the one before about the collective of Pleiadians, that was Luciferic energy, false light. So Luciferic energy is false light energy. It's not true light. It falls apart when you touch it because it's not true. It's not balanced. It's not grounded in reality. So if you are listening to channelings or even information that is coming through hypnosis sessions, if it is not grounded in reality, if it is not balanced information, then it is most likely coming from a Luciferic being from the lower astral realm. Now, this, there is a lot of misinformation in the spiritual community placed there specifically for the purpose of throwing us off track and keeping us off track. Like the people that run this world and the energies that are behind them in the astral realm, because these elites do work with these energies. They actively call them forth to work with them and take orders from them to produce their technology and to gain control over humanity. These energies are, they have just like invaded everything. And we need to be able to understand that and how they work to be able to overcome them. And because they know that people are going to be waking up. When people begin to wake up to who they are, they can and get drawn into spirituality. They get drawn into the new age because that's kind of the first thing there waiting for you when you awaken. It's all these new age thoughts that are pervasive in the spiritual community. So they knew that that would be like their first step. in. So they put all of these beliefs there in order to create another trap for people coming out of religion, people who were not religious at all but had an awakening, maybe atheist or whatever. Um, they put together this whole new set of belief systems. But even though it's new and it's called the New Age, that doesn't mean that it's true. And there's this other belief too, that truth is subjective, and that there is no objective truth anymore. And that's that's just not true. There is objective truth. Like as much as you want, you cannot say that the sky is green. It's not true, right? So we do have, we do have our own truths. That is true. And some of our own truths can be quite subjective. But on a grander scale, there definitely is objective truth. And the way they kind of keep us off balance is to say, that truth is subjective, and whatever you want to believe. It's like whatever you want to believe nowadays, like that's your truth and everybody has to accept that. um so yeah, I've been noticing a lot of really ungrounded energy about the ascension and all of these misconceptions about the ascension. Ascension is real. I do believe that humanity is in a period where we are ascending in consciousness. However, all of these misconceptions have been thrown in the mix about what's going to happen. Is there going to be a big flash? Are we going to disappear? Are we going to just wake up one day in 5D on another planet, and everybody that didn't make it stayed behind, and what perished? Like, I mean, is that grounded in reality? That doesn't feel grounded in reality to me. Yeah, like it's fun. Like when I was first waking up and you're hearing all this information, coming out of sessions and being channeled through, and it's like, oh, the spaceships are coming, and um, they're gonna take us to 5D and the new Earth and this and that. I really believe that a lot of the new Earth information has been um, misinformation, purposeful misinformation, to have people not looking at themselves, not healing their trauma, but just holding on to this hope that they're just going to be taken to a higher dimension. And that way, when you're taken to that higher dimension, all of your problems here just go away. And you wake up in heaven, pretty much. That's what the story is. And there's a lot of people, as crazy as that sounds, there's a lot of people that really believe that. I've been watching. I like to watch to see what's happening out there in the spiritual communities. And, there have been channelers saying, it's going to happen any day now. We're going to ascend any day now. Any day now is going to be the ascension. Just wait. And, channeling all of these entities all day long. And it's not good. It's not good, because these are false light Luciferian beings that are being channeled through. And every day they have a new excuse as to why we haven't yet ascended. I think the latest excuse was that the negative beings sucked out the ascension wave. Like, that was a real channeling. And I can see how people can get, the word that comes through is bamboozled. They get bamboozled. um, it's like they just become engulfed in it. It becomes, and you just don't even question it anymore, because that's just your reality. It becomes your reality. You're just waiting for this to happen. And instead of being proactive in your life, instead of taking steps to, heal your childhood trauma, heal your past life trauma, um, raising your consciousness through organic means. We're just waiting around for other beings to do it for us, or just to take us out of here to 5D. It doesn't work like that. True evolution doesn't work like that. Like, in order to ascend, we have to evolve in consciousness. And that's a really slow process. It's a really slow process. Humans do not just evolve in a flash of light to a higher consciousness. It's years and years and years and years and years and years of evolution. It's like humanity goes through, we're at the, bottom of this descension. We're on the downhill. And I'm reminded of something Karen saw in a vision where we were like coming down the hill and just beginning to go up again. So just beginning to ascend up that hill, but we're at the very bottom still. And it's not, the evolution is, I believe that the evolution, I don't believe that the evolution is inevitable. I believe that some of us will evolve, yes. But there are two divergent paths, and there are more people going this way than there are going this way. And I think the question is, how are we going to evolve? Are we going to evolve organically through doing the work, through nurturing our own consciousness, opening up our psychic gifts? Because that takes work. It doesn't just happen. I mean, for some people it does. Very rarely it does. It just happens. But it's something that you have to work on. It's something that you have to nurture. Or are we going to take the path of transhumanism and evolve through technology that way? And this information is so important to get out right now, because the path of transhumanism is not a good one. It's not a good one. And, we are not going to just evolve in a flash of light. It's not going to happen that way. It's going to take time, and we need to do the work. That's the other thing. Like, we need to do the work in order to evolve. The Luciferians want you to believe that, any day now, there's just going to be a ship that lands and you jump on it and you leave all your family behind because they're not there yet. And you're just going to go to 5D. Or the new thing is, because that hasn't happened yet, the new thing is, people are going to have to die. You're going to have to die here, and then your consciousness will transition to 5D. There's just a lot of misinformation out there, and it's difficult to discern when your vessel is not clear, when your vessel is not purified. So part of the spiritual path of being initiated into this is purification on every level. So purifying mind, body, and spirit. And because people aren't focused on that at all, because they think they're just going to, wake up in 5D somehow. They're not evolving because they're not doing the work. They're not purifying their bodies to become clear, to be able to discern. The clearer your mind, body, and spirit become, the easier it is to discern. So when people say to you, well, how does it feel to you? Well, if you're holding a lot of trauma in your body, and I come to talk to you about Satan and how Satan works in the world, that might feel really scary to you, right? Because you're still holding a lot of trauma and haven't healed that yet. This is what we have to understand. We have to purify our vessels to be able to sharpen our discernment, to be able to hold information that isn't all love and light. Because look around, this world is not all love and light. They are very, 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 very dense in consciousness. In a world of duality that is severely out of balance, severely out of balance. The darkness is outweighing the light. Is there light? Yes. But the darkness is still outweighing it because we've ignored it for so long. And this is why I feel it's so important to bring awareness to these topics. Understanding how these energies work to influence humanity is something that we must do moving forward. And why? Because the astral realm is moving closer to Earth in the coming years. Closer and closer and closer. There will be more and more influence by these entities in the astral, by Ahriman and Lucifer. That's why I'm seeing so much Luciferic energy in the spiritual community. And people can use these ideas to spiritually bypass. This is what we're talking about, spiritually bypassing what's actually happening in reality, because we're so focused up here being lofty and airy-fairy and, you know, everything's going to be fine, the light has won, and you know, all of those things that you hear. It's not true. It's not based in any kind of reality at all. There's no balance to this information. It's really just yeah, really unbalanced. And then you have the dense, dense, dense energy to the opposite of that, that wants to reduce everything to being proven through science. It's become its own religion, scientism. But where we need to be is in that Christ stream of energy. We need to find that balance between the two. This was the purpose of these entities who incarnated here in that Christ stream of energy, like Jesus and Buddha and Krishna, was to begin to usher in that stream of consciousness. To say, you don't need to ignore the darkness. You need to integrate the darkness. We need to integrate the darkness, and we need to understand the darkness in order to ascend in consciousness. So I feel like any spiritual teaching that does not integrate the darkness is not worth very much, in my opinion. It's really not worth very much. Because where is that going to get us? Where is that going to get us? if we don't understand what is happening on a spiritual level around us. Because the people running the show here on earth, they're being influenced by these energies. They understand these energies. And it's because we don't that we're being taken advantage of. That's what's happening. We have these lofty ideas of what being spiritual means, what being human means, what being 5D means. Maybe I'm not 5D enough. I don't know. But I've been accused of that before, but not 5D enough. Yeah, I do have hope for humanity. I do know that we are on that hill, or maybe just at the very bottom of that hill on our way up, but we have a long way to go. And I just want to say, you know, when you are listening to teachers or channelers that bring through information, ask yourself, is this information grounded in reality? Is this balanced information? Sharpening our discernment moving forward is so important, because these beings, and the way we do that again is through purifying mind, body, and soul. So purifying our thoughts, actually purifying our bodies, our vessels, and purifying spiritually, you know, doing the energy work, checking to see if you have attachments, because those attachments can and do influence your thoughts, your beliefs, your ideas, your physical body. If you watched the last 2 sessions we posted, you can see just how much we can be influenced by energy that is not our own. But we think it's our own because we just feel like it's a part of us. But it could be an earthbound soul that is amplifying that energy within yourself. Or it could be a dark force entity, you know, feeding you these thoughts. So we have to, this is part of what being sovereign means. And someone commented on one of the videos of something like, how many of us are walking around with many, you know, like as many different energies in one body. It's funny, I joined this spirit photography group because it popped up on my Facebook and I was just like curious. And there are a lot of pictures in that group of spirit attachments. Like you can actually see someone who takes a picture of a living human. You can see a face, a ghostly face overlaid on that human's face. Yeah, it's wild. So many people have attachments. It's very rare that we see someone who is actually sovereign in a remote spirit release session. It's very, very rare. Most people that we've seen do have some kind of attachment. And again, it's nothing to be afraid of, but it's something that needs to be addressed if you are serious about your ascension and evolving in your consciousness. Sovereignty is the most important part of that. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Let me see if anything else wants to come through. Being present in your body and grounded as much as possible is paramount to your evolution and consciousness. Most people are not in their bodies. Their souls aren't fully anchored in because they've been traumatized, um, because they have implants that take them out. Um, One of our friends just found this implant in one of her family members that was placed in the whole generation of people. I'm going to guess in their 50s, 60s, 60s, maybe 70s. And they call this the lost generation. And apparently, this implant was placed to keep the soul from fully integrating into the body. Everything they do, everything these beings do, that the elite do, is to keep us out of the body. Because when we are out of the body, when the soul is not fully anchored in, we are open for attachment and influence. Because anything could just come and pop in, right? And take over our consciousness and, act out. Um, yeah. So the most important thing we can do is to be fully anchored and grounded in the body. There is such a thing as too much meditation. We've had a string of clients recently who have been either on the verge of or actually in a spiritual psychosis because they were meditating and channeling and automatic writing way too much without protection. And that can be dangerous. You have to protect yourselves when you're doing those things. And you never want to be meditating for more than an hour a day, and even that's long. But if you are meditating, please protect yourself. Set up your shield around you. Yeah, set up your shield, protect yourself when you're meditating because you become open. And that's how false light beings can come in, or dark force entities can come in and cause a spiritual psychosis. It's really sad. And there are a lot of people who experience this because they feel like, the more they meditate, the better. And listen, meditation is amazing. It really does have physical effects on the body, such as calming the nervous system and calming the body, the mind, and actually creating new neural pathways, which is great. But some people take it too far in the rush to get to 5D, or in the hopes that they're going to connect with, say, a ninth dimensional Pleiadian. A lot of these interdimensionals that we know as Pleiadians and Greys and whatever, things like that, they're false light beings from the astral realm. They're not actually ninth dimensional Pleiadians like we saw in our remote spirit release session. And in order to be able to discern that, you have to purify your vessel so that you can sharpen your discernment and understand these energies. Where was I going with that? Totally just like blanked out. Oh yeah, and channeling. yeah, opening yourself up to allow another being to take over your body is not necessarily a good idea, especially if you're not protected and you don't have the discernment to know whether those beings, who those beings are. I mean, how do you ever really know who they are? I feel like we need to be focused more on connecting with our own higher beings, our own inner wisdom, our own higher selves. That's really all you'll ever need, is to connect with your own self. You don't need anything outside of yourself. You really, really don't. And that is the safest bet if you are going to channel or connect or automatic write. Protect yourself and connect with your higher self. Get to know yourself before you're calling in any other beings. The more you know thyself, the better you will be able to discern others. That really is the journey. It's about knowing yourself. Um, what else? Yeah, it breaks my heart to see people struggling so much with this psychosis that there's really no treatment for. There's nowhere for these people to go besides the mental hospital, and they don't get the treatment they need there. They get pushed full of drugs or just go there because they want to feel some sort of safety because they're being pulled so out of their bodies that they can't ground. So just, you know, I don't want to be accused of being like fear-based. I'm just saying, like, we need to have this awareness that these things do happen and we can take things a little bit too far sometimes if we're too open and not protecting ourselves. This is really the whole point of our message, to assist you in having a deeper understanding and not just, doing the latest thing just to do it. Spiritual work is deep work. It's about digging deep, like through the layers, to purge those layers and purify the body in order to ascend in consciousness. We are no better than anyone else. I've been very much focused on grounding myself into my reality and enjoying being human, because that's what we came here to do. We came here to be human, to enjoy the experience. And we can't do that if we're always trying not to be here through escaping. There's so much escapism in the spiritual community, like just not wanting to be here. And a lot of people use spirituality to escape from what they've been through, to bypass it all, to be positive, love and light only. And that doesn't get anywhere. I mean, we've seen that in our clients where it's just none of the work was done. It's just, looking the other way, not looking at the real issues, because I have to focus only on what's positive and only on love and light. And that does work for a while, but we're really only just running from ourselves. And eventually it catches up to us and we realize that we're in the same place that we were when we started, because we really didn't do any of the work. So I just, we see a lot of things in our work, and it just makes me worry about what's going on out there. And I feel it's very urgent to get these messages out because of all the threads and the things that we've seen. Um, people, we need to have a better and deeper understanding of spirituality and integrating our darkness. So, if you guys have any questions or thoughts, I would love to hear from you. Please like this video if you like it and subscribe to our channel. All right, I'll see you next time. Sending so much love. Be gentle with yourselves. Really be gentle with yourselves. And I recommend a lot of grounding right now. If you can connect with the earth and really grounding into the body will be super helpful. See you next time.